Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome back. So, today we will start one new chapter, in fact chapter number 7 of the book we are following. So, the title of this chapter, if I can remember correctly, it is consumer, producer and efficiency of the market, or demand, supply and efficiency of the market, something like that. Okay. So, what is the idea what we are going to discuss in this chapter? Let me clarify first. See, if you can remember one of the 10 principles, okay, 10 principles we have introduced long ago, no, in the first or second or third lecture. Okay. So, one principle was there that market is a good way of allocating resources, right. In this chapter we will try to understand it is not about market is a good way to allocate resources, perhaps it is a desirable way to allocate resources within the members of the society. Okay. Any country, any economy, some resources are there, okay. And if we or those resources are allocated or distributed through market mechanism without any intervention, free market mechanism what we are referring, right, without any intervention, perhaps that is a desirable way also, and that will be a best way also to allocate the resources among the members of the society. Okay. That we will try to understand here. So, last few chapters we have discussed if free market is allowed to operate, okay, how the resources will be allocated, okay, say in a market. So, as we have discussed so far, you know that in a market some sellers are there of a product or service, whatever it is, okay, some buyers are also there, okay, and they are interacting among themselves through that market, okay, and as a resultant we are getting some equilibrium price level what will be determined by these demand supply forces, and equilibrium quantity of that commodity or that service, that amount, that equilibrium quantity means amount of that commodity what will be transacted in that market at that existing or at that equilibrium price. Okay. Every unit of that commodity will be transacted at that equilibrium price, okay, that we have discussed. Okay. So, so far what we have discussed, we have discussed perhaps some positive aspect. If you can remember, sometimes back we introduced two concepts called positive versus normative aspect, right. Okay. So, positive aspect I hope everybody can remember, still let me repeat, positive aspect or positive statement are those statements through which we are trying to narrate the world around us. What is happening that we are narrating. Okay. In a class, if students get say average score in a particular course, maybe 55%. So, I am telling that average score of this class is 55% in this particular subject, that is positive statement. Just we are narrating, we are trying to narrate the fact. Okay. Vis-a-vis what is the normative statement? There is always some norm in the background of the mind. Sometimes those norms can be exclusively mentioned, may not be mentioned. The way that same thing 55% of the score of a class, the person who is narrating, how he or she is narrating, through that you can understand it may be a normative statement. Say I am the person, I am telling that average score of this class in this subject is not that much good. If I tell good or not that much good like that, so you can easily understand that there is some norm in my mind, or who is narrating that in his or her mind, against which he or she is telling that it is not good, or because when I am telling it is not that much good, perhaps the norm what is set in my mind as which is good, that is above 55%, right. That is why I am telling it is not that much good. So, about the market, so that those are the just the reminding to you people what is positive statement and what is normative statement. Normative statement is always attached to it some value judgment kind of thing, right, good, bad, ought to be, it should be, something like that is attached in a statement. Okay. And positive statement is just this chair is red color, okay, that chair is blue color, something like that. What is the fact that we are narrating? Okay, if I tell this chair is not, or color of this chair is not that much attractive, that means the person who, like me, who is telling that, perhaps red color he or she does not like, okay, some other color perhaps she likes, okay. So, in that way, okay, some value judgment is usually attached with normative statement, right. So, what we are discussing now, or so far we have discussed with the market and different forces of the market, demand, supply and all those, try to narrate using those tools, market tools. We narrated how the market operates or how the real life situation occurs. So, we have narrated so far the positive thing. Today, we are trying to narrate this market related thing, some normative aspect. What is that? The way how resources are being allocated through market mechanism, or the positive statement or positive aspects of that we have already learned. This chapter we are trying to learn whether that is a good way or not, whether that is a desirable way or not, whether that is the, perhaps that is the best way or not, that kind of thing we are trying to do. So, we are trying to invade into normative aspects of market mechanism through this chapter. Okay. Okay. So, the first thing is that, see, look at here, in any market, right, as we know that one customers or a group of customers are there, alternatively a group of sellers are there, right, say some products, say maybe rice, okay. So, in a rice market, right, some sellers are there who are the producer of the rice, right, and suppose for some reason that equilibrium price in that market is determined as, say, rupees 50 per kg, rice rupees 50 per kg, right. It is the general instinct, general willingness from the customer side, they will be always happy if price little bit less than this, right. Customers always are looking for less prices to pay, okay. And for the producer side, it is just the opposite thing, producers will always will try to get a little bit more, right. So, the thing is that if the market price is rupees 50 per kg, right, customer may not be that much happy, producers also may not be that much happy, okay. Producers are may be the case that some producers are looking for little bit more price, some customers may be looking for little bit less price and so on. Now, in the market, we can see that one given price, customer side at least some of them can be unhappy, producer sides also at least some of them can be unhappy. Now, our question is, or in this chapter we are trying to understand whatever price is there in the market clearing price or equilibrium price, is it desirable from the entire societal point of view? We are trying to investigate into that question, whether this price level, okay, whether this is desirable from the societal point of view, right. Okay. Let me as we have narrated that demand price, right, that sometimes called, or price what is coming through a demand curve. Say suppose this is a demand curve, we are measuring as usual quantity demanded and quantity supplied here, price that side, and if this is the demand curve, okay, the person who is standing here as a customer, as a potential customer, right, the person who is standing here, his willingness to pay for that commodities 1 unit this much, person who is standing here, his willingness to pay, his or her, is this much and so on, not willingness to pay, that is the maximum willingness to pay, okay. And if price is little bit less than that, this person both will be happy, because his maximum willingness to pay for that commodity is this much, but actually he is paying this much because that is the market equilibrium price. So, market is ready to sell the product to him at this price only, okay. So, he is happy. Again, this person who is standing here, he is also paying something less than what is the maximum willingness to pay by him, right. In that way each of them are happy, right. Now, when we are discussing this demand curve, right, as if we assume that the commodity or the service for which we are drawing this kind of continuous demand curve, right, as if the commodity is perfectly divisible kind of thing we are assuming, right, means like say milk, some liquid kind of product suppose, okay. So it's every small units you can perfectly divide kind of thing, that commodity. So in other words, we are telling that commodity is perfectly divisible kind of thing, otherwise you will not get this kind of continuous kind of curve, right. Suppose, so try to understand or the question what we are searching for in this chapter, right, whether the equilibrium price is desirable from the societal perspective, society as a whole's perspective, right, that we are discussing, right. So to understand that, certain concepts we have to know, that called consumer surplus and producer surplus. What are those? We are coming to introduce those concepts, but to understand those concepts or to make you easily understand those concepts, right. Let us first start with, say, as if our commodity for which demand curve or for which supply curve we are drawing in a market, it is discrete kind of nature, right. Say suppose it is a car, okay. Let me go in an F-phase diagram. Say suppose we are talking about a car, okay. So we are measuring as usual price in the vertical axis and quantity. Suppose we are going to draw demand curve here, quantity demanded we are measuring horizontal axis. Since this car, the commodity we have taken, it's a discrete in nature. More specifically, 1 car, 2 car, 3 car, this kind of numbers of the cars has some meaning, right. But if I tell 1.7 number of cars, it does not have any meaning, right. Because 0.7 number of cars, what is that, right. So if that is the case, say suppose I am writing, say this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, in that way horizontal axis we are measuring quantity of that product, no. So number of the cars, okay, number of car, right. Now there may be a certain people in this market, same car, okay, same brand, say maybe Hyundai i20, okay, and specific everything all are the same feature, right. But the same car, I may have some willingness to pay or maximum willingness to pay for that car, you may be having some different maximum willingness to pay, someone else may have different maximum willingness to pay, right. That depends on what is the valuation of that car to me, to you, to that someone else, all those people, right. So suppose the people who are there, suppose for me, or say if we arrange these potential buyers of that car who are there in the market, because we are trying to discuss the demand curve, right. So demand curve means what, who are the potential buyers and what is their maximum willingness to pay, that is important to know, right. So suppose if we arrange the potential buyers of that car, okay, as per their maximum willingness to pay, okay, the highest buyer, that I am telling the first buyer, highest, the person with maximum willingness to pay for that car is the first person I am telling, okay. The person who has the second highest maximum willingness to pay for that same car, I am telling that the second person, and so on. We are referring, or we are labeling the persons in that way, okay. So obviously, suppose first person's maximum willingness to pay of that same car, say suppose 15 lakh rupees, all in rupees terms, say price in rupees per unit or per piece of the car. Here unit is per piece, no, 1 car, 2 cars, so number of cars, right. So per unit is here piece, right. So suppose 15 lakh is the first person's maximum willingness to pay. Suppose second person's maximum willingness to pay, say 12 lakh rupees, and so on, right. So if that is the case, can you think of what will be the demand curve for the same car by the first person and by the second person and so on, okay. Look, let us assume one abstract assumption also, that everybody, whoever the potential customers are here, they if they buy that car, they will purchase only one piece, okay, one piece they will purchase. So definitely, suppose this is the 15 lakh, okay, and since the first person maximum willingness to pay is 15 lakh rupees, so there is no other people in the potential buyer set whose maximum willingness to pay is more than 15 lakh. So definitely, if I draw the demand curve for that person, because everybody wants to purchase only one car, right. So, definitely the first person's demand curve will be this red line, this red line. Look, in between here there I am telling that this kind of dot 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 break kind of thing. Break kind of thing, it means that in between there is no point of this like this point, okay, it does not have any meaning, right. This point as if that half curve, this is origin 0 or O, this is the first curve, right. So, this point means what, okay, some half number of curve or something like that, it does not have any meaning. So, that is why we are telling this kind of thing, okay. So, definitely that person's demand curve, this there is a this kind of break kind of gap and then this vertical line. Everybody understood? Because why that is the case? This line is telling that if price is anything above 15 lakh rupees, okay, that person's quantity demanded for that car is 0, because his maximum willingness to pay is 15 lakh only. So, anything above this side price, it will be 0. Okay, and his maximum willingness to pay 15 lakh. So, 15 lakh to 0 in between price in between 0 and 15 lakh, his demand for that car will be only 1, because everybody wants to purchase only 1. So, this is the continuous line, okay, this vertical line is continuous line, this red color, this vertical line is continuous line, okay. Now, suppose if I want to draw the second person's demand curve here. Second person, if at all can participate in the market, he also will purchase only one piece of that car, okay. So, exactly the same way, if we want to draw in this panel what is the demand curve for the second person, right, what it will be. So, definitely if this is the 15 lakh, perhaps here somewhere 12 lakh, because his willingness to pay 12 lakh, right. So, his demand curve will be this kind of green color, look at here, this continuously be there, then there is a break here and then this continuous vertical line. Okay, this is the 12 lakh, from here this continuous vertical line, right, that will be the second person's demand curve. So, now if we want to find out the market demand curve, as you know, exactly the same way third person's demand curve also, suppose third person's maximum willingness to pay is say 10 lakh rupees. Third person means what? The in this entire set of potential buyers, okay, who has the person who has the third highest maximum willingness to pay, suppose that is 10 lakh. So, if I am interested to draw his demand curve, definitely that will be this blue line, suppose this is 10 lakh. So, his demand curve will be this until this, then there is a break kind of thing and then this vertical line and so on. Now, if we want to draw that market demand curve in this market, right, what we have to do? We have to aggregate, horizontal aggregation of all these demand curves, right. So, if we aggregate that, where we will land? Let us go afresh. So, market demand curve in this market will be this kind, quantity demanded will be this side, price will be this side, here suppose 15 lakh, price in rupees 15 lakh, here suppose 12 lakh, here suppose 10 lakh, okay, here suppose say 8 lakh, 8 lakh is the fourth buyer's maximum willingness to pay, right, and here this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, in that way, this is 5, in that way it is going, right. So, how the demand curve, market demand curve will be definitely above this 15 lakh price, this will be the vertical line, vertical axis itself, because there is no demand, but at the 15 lakh rupee, so it will come this dot 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 until that 1 unit, this will continue up to 12 lakh, okay, and then 12 lakh there is another demand, second persons have also demand, right. So, there will be break here, it will come to the second, okay, and it will continue. So, it's the meaning is that above 15 lakh rupee there is no demand, at 15 lakh rupee one demand, any price in between 15 lakh and 12 lakh only one demand, okay. Then when it is 12 lakh two demand. Why two demand? Because one demand from the person 15 lakh whose willingness to pay is 15 lakh, and another demand from the person whose willingness to pay is 12 lakh. So at the 12 lakh it is gap. So again it is continuing up to 10 lakh up to the third person. 10 lakh there is again at the gap, this is the 2 until this 2, this is the 3, this is 3, right. So here it will go until 8 it will go, then it will come. So this is the fourth unit in that way. So demand curve will be this, there is a gap, this, there is again a gap, this, like that. And every steps is basically, when we are getting at this kind of step, it is basically first unit, second unit, third unit, fourth unit, they are corresponding, there is a step. So demand curve will look like as if a downward sloping staircase kind of thing, right. Let me repeat again, let me clarify again, why this kind of demand curve? Because there is no meaning of the curve in between these. No meaning of the curve in between of these, in between these. In between this means if this is 1 and this is 2 in the horizontal side. So in between these 2 means basically 1 point something, some fraction in between 1 and 2. There is no meaning of a car of that number, say 1.3 number of cars. There is no meaning, because the commodity here or good here is a discrete good, right. So that is the thing. So this kind of demand curve we will get. Now for some reason, suppose this is the market price, suppose at that price car is sold in the market, okay, that is the equilibrium price. How that is the equilibrium price? Perhaps the supply curve is meeting this demand curve at that point, that is why, okay. We are not drawing the supply curve in this framework. For the discrete good kind of case, how the supply curve will look like, we are yet to introduce, okay, we are coming to that. For the time being, suppose that for some reason this is the equilibrium price, say P star level. So obviously you know that at that price level only 3 people are there, yes, only 3 people are there who will be able to purchase that commodity, right. So effective demand in that market is 3 only, because so many people are there, okay, but only first 3 people are capable to purchase that commodity, because its price is say in between, where we marked it is in between 8 and 10 lakh, no. So suppose it is 9 lakh, suppose, okay. So in this market 3 people are there whose willingness to pay is more than 9 lakh or more than that, right. So definitely demand, as you know, as we defined earlier, demand is willingness to get something or desire to get something, but backed by your purchasing power. So here so many potential customers are there, but only 3 of them have the purchasing power which can tolerate the market price, right. So this is so this 3 people will be able to participate in the market. So 3 number of cars will be sold in that market. Now the question is, by participating in this market, these 3 people who are participating, who are able to purchase that commodity from that market, right, what kind of welfare they are generating, what kind of value, additional valuation they are generating. So when additional valuation, I am telling additional valuation or extra valuation, additional valuation, sometimes that is called welfare also in this case, okay. Welfare, what kind of welfare they are generating, what we are trying to see here, we are trying to capture that my willingness to pay is 15 lakh rupee, but market price is allowing me to purchase that same commodity by paying only 9 lakh rupee. So definitely why my willingness to pay is 15 lakh rupee? Perhaps what we have discussed earlier in the last lecture, okay, perhaps the valuation of that car to me, if I could quantify that in monetary terms, that is equivalent to 15 lakh. That is why my willingness to, otherwise why I will pay 15 lakh rupee for that car, right. So that is the thing. So essentially the person who has the, or first person, the way we have termed different person, first person or the person with highest maximum willingness to pay, that person is generating this area of social welfare or his own individual welfare. Of course, he is a part of social welfare in this society. You try to understand by additional valuation means what then. So this 15 lakh rupees is valuation to him, but he is paying only 9 lakh because 9 lakh is the market price. So, whatever the gap, he is gaining that much extra, that is why it is called additional valuation, that is sometimes called welfare also, that person is gaining that much welfare. Okay. Okay. Second person, how much welfare he is gaining? Definitely what is his willingness to pay? 12 lakh, but he is also paying 9 lakh only, because 9 lakh is market price. So, this is this green colored shaded area, that is the second person's valuation, not valuation, welfare generation by participating in the market. And exactly the same way, this blue color shaded area is the third person's welfare generated, right. So, in this market, by participating in this market, so total welfare generated by the customers as a group, consumers as a group, is basically the area bounded by this green line, this entire area. So, this kind of entire area, this, okay. This we can tell consumers surplus. This area is termed as consumers surplus, consumers as a group, that is why plural after that apostrophe s, consumers surplus. Okay. Consumers as a group, how much surplus valuation they are generating. Surplus, this surplus means excess, no. So, excess, let me repeat again, excess is basically how much valuation you are willing to pay and how much you are actually paying, in between what is the gap, okay, that is the surplus. So, in that way we can think of this is the total consumer surplus, and that much of welfare or additional welfare consumers are gaining, consumers as a group. Look, there are so many other consumers also, but there is no surplus generated by any of those consumers, any of the consumers other than these three consumers who can participate in the market, there is no welfare generated by any of them. Why? Because they can't participate in the market, right. So, that is the thing. So, to generate the welfare, first the party, does not matter whether it is a consumer or it is a producer, party has to participate in the market first, okay, and then to some valuation or excess valuation they can generate. Exactly same way, if we draw, if you understand this demand curve, its supply curve also is very easy, okay. Supply curve, say let us quickly complete the supply curve, say price this side, quantity supplied we are measuring, right. So, I am generating or I am ranking the potential suppliers, okay, potential sellers, okay, all the suppliers who are there in the market, right. So, they are definitely say most efficient. So, okay, so here in the earlier diagram, this person is the most efficient customer in the sense that he is the same good, the first person having the valuation is the highest, then the second person, then the third person, and so on. So, this is the most efficient customer, most efficient consumer, in the sense that that consumer value this commodity most among the all possible customers prevailing in the market, right. Exactly the same way, this is the second highest efficient customer, and so on, right. Exactly that way, if we go for the seller side, okay, who will be the most efficient seller? Definitely the same product, the seller who will be able to deliver at the lowest possible cost, who incur the least cost to produce that commodity, right. And exactly the same way, if we arrange the potential sellers, right, who are there in the market with the product, right. So, definitely suppose if I arrange those sellers, first seller I am telling first seller, we are telling first seller to that person whose cost of production of that commodity is the lowest. In that way second seller, in that way third seller, and so on are there, right. So, if first seller's minimum cost, okay, he needs at least this much price to be able to deliver that product, and again we are talking about discrete good only, okay. So, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, in that way it is going horizontal axis, right. So, definitely if that first seller's minimum willingness to accept for that commodity, minimum in the sense that the minimum price what is required for him to be able to deliver the product in the market, right. So, if that is this price, right, so obviously his supply curve will be will coincide with the vertical line for any price below that minimum level, right. But when price is this much, market price is this much, he will be able to supply only one. Okay. So, his supply curve will be this thing, his supply curve will be definitely this, there is a gap here and then this vertical line. Okay. Now, the second seller, say suppose this is, say suppose say same car, okay, same car, say suppose this is 6 lakh rupee. Okay. Second seller, okay, suppose he needs at least 8 lakh rupee, otherwise he can't, because his cost of production little bit more than the first seller. Okay. So, his supply curve will be definitely this green or say blue color supply curve. Okay. His supply curve will be anything below this 8 lakh rupee, this is his supply curve, it is coincidence or it is coinciding with the vertical axis, we are measuring price here, right, and it will be, then there is a gap here and his supply curve will be this vertical line itself. Okay. So, in that way different sellers supply curve will get, and if you want to get the market supply curve, what we have to do, exactly the same way we have to horizontally aggregate, because we are measuring quantity in the horizontal axis. So, if we aggregate that, the market supply curve will be this kind of thing. So, this is 6 lakh. Okay. So, then there is a gap until this is 1. Okay. Then this is going, then suppose this is 8 lakh, there is again a gap, this is 2, okay, this, okay, then gap, this, then gap, this. Look, let me clarify, this distance and this distance, there is no reason that all this distance will be same, that depends on, okay, this may be this, that depends on after this price who is the fourth seller or fifth seller kind of thing, what is his minimum willingness to accept, okay, for that particular product, he to be able to deliver that product in the market, what is his minimum willingness to accept, right. So, in that way, so first, so here this, that is going until 8 lakh, because 8 lakh is the second highest, second lowest sellers, lowest in the sense that lowest cost in that sense, second sellers willingness to accept. Then there is a gap, then this will go to up to third, suppose this is 9 lakh, so that is the third, right. So, these gaps are depending on what is the gap between, suppose this is the fourth seller, this is a 15 lakh. Okay. So, market demand curve, market supply curve will be this gap, this gap, then this, then gap, then until this, then gap, and so on. Okay, because this is the 15 lakh is the fourth highest or fourth lowest, fourth sellers minimum willingness to accept. In that way, we will get this upward sloping step kind of supply curve, market supply curve we will get. If the commodities, what we are talking about, or whose demand curve and whose supply curve we are discussing, that commodity is discrete in nature. Okay. And exactly the same way, if we have say this is the market price somehow, right, say suppose 10 lakh is the market price. Okay. We can tell that this is the surplus amount first seller is getting, because this much price, at that price he will be able to sell, but market is allowing him to get this much price for that car or that commodity. So, he is getting this much, second seller is getting this much, third seller is getting this much, and so on, and since fourth seller's willingness to accept is 15 lakh, he is not be able to participate in the market. So, producers as a group, producers surplus will be bordered by this green colored area, this entire area. Okay. And of course, this surplus is basically again the welfare generated by the producers as a group, okay, by participating in the market. Okay. Let us stop here and we will continue in the next lecture.